Civil rights activist Reveren Al Sharpton speaks against President Donald Trump for how he handled the tragedy of those who died in the recent plane crash in Washington, D.C. An American Airlines plane carrying 60 passengers and 4 crew members collided with an Army Black Hawk helicopter outside Reagan National Airport near Washington, D.C. Wednesday night. A D.C. fire official said Thursday that we don't think there are any survivors from this accident, and we are switching from a rescue operation to a recovery operation. President Donald Trump began his White House briefing Thursday with a moment of silence and a prayer for victims of Wednesday's crash at Reagan National Airport. But his remarks quickly became a diatribe against diversity hiring and his allegation, so far without evidence, that lowered standards were to blame for the crash. Trump on Thursday variously pointed the finger at the helicopter's pilot, air traffic control, his predecessor, Joe Biden, and other Democrats, including former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, whom he labeled a disaster. Buttigieg responded by calling Trump despicable. Civil rights activist Reveren Al Sharpton speaks out against President Donald Trump for how he handled the tragedy of those who died in the recent plane crash in Washington, D.C. He writes, tragedy should never be used as a political prop. As families grieve the devastating loss of 67 lives in the Washington, D.C. air disaster, we must stand united in mourning, not division. Instead of compassion, we witnessed a shameful display of insensitivity from the White House. Let us honor the lives lost, demand a thorough investigation, and offer our prayers to the families enduring this unimaginable pain. We are better than this. Respect fallen.
I just watched President Trump's press conference on the fact that we lost 67 or more people in this airline helicopter crash last night in Washington, D.C., a route that I and many travel many times. And to see this president use the occasion to step over the bodies being fished out of the Potomac River and use it to attack DEI, to attack former President Obama, and former President Biden, and former Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg, is despicable and insensitive. Let us first mourn the deaths of those that were lost. Let us pray for their families. Let us have a thorough investigation on what happened. I don't know, and he doesn't know, whether the backgrounds of the pilots on the helicopter or the training of those on the plane had anything to do with this yet. It happened 12 hours ago. If we can't be sensitive to the fact that families are now just finding out their loved ones is at the bottom of the river, at least be decent enough to let us mourn. We need to be united in grief. Everybody got on that plane and in that helicopter did not make a reservation to die. Does that even matter to those that are in this White House? Well, it matters to us. I've got to do my radio show, but I had to appeal for some unity and some decency. However you pray, whichever way you practice your prayer, pray for these families and pray we have a thorough investigation and pray that we not be so politically hyped up that we see people that die of tragedies as props rather than people that matter to somebody.